Hey, second grade. We just got done reading chapter 18 about Roz and how she learns how to camouflage herself. And she's been hiding and watching from a distance and observing the animals. So we're going to start on chapter 19. I hope that you took some time to sit and observe nature, and let's see if you observed some of the same things that Roz did. Chapter 19, Observations. Clouds scudded through the sky. Spiders spun intricate webs. Berries beckoned to hungry mouths. Foxes stalked hares. Mushrooms rose up from leaf litter. Turtles plopped into ponds. Moss spread across tree roots. Vultures hunched over carcasses. Ocean waves beat against the coastline. Tadpoles became frogs. Caterpillars became butterflies. And a camouflaged robot observed it all. The language of the animals. Chapter 20. The language of the animals. It started with the birds. They had always been skittish when the robot was near. They would stare and screech and then scatter. But now that Roz was camouflaged, she could secretly observe their normal behavior right up close. Roz noticed that the chickadees fluttering through the same flowers and singing the same song every morning. She noticed a lark who swooped down to the same rock and sang the same song every afternoon. She noticed two magpies singing to each other from across the same meadow every evening. After weeks of robotically studying the birds, Roz knew what each bird would sing and when they would sing it, and eventually why they would sing it. The robot was beginning to understand the birds. But she was also beginning to understand the porcupines, the salamanders, the beetles. She discovered that all the different animals shared one common language. They just spoke the language in different ways. You might say that each species spoke in its own unique accent. When Roz first listened to the chickadees, their songs had sounded like tweet, tweedle, tweet, tweedle. But now when the chickadees sang, Roz heard, "Oh, what a lovely day it is. Oh, what a lovely day it is." Deer spoke mostly with their bodies. By simply turning their head, a doe could say to her family, "Let's look over for clovers by the stream." Snakes often hissed to themselves things like, "I know there's a tasty mouse around here somewhere." Bees said very little. They used their wings to buzz a few simple words like nectar, sun, and hive. Frogs spent most of their time searching for each other. One would croak, "Where are you? I can't see you." And then another would reply, "I'm over here. Follow my voice." When Roz first stomped onto the island, the animal squawks, growls, chirps had sounded like nothing more than meaningless noises. But she no longer heard animal noises. Now she heard animal words. Chapter 21, The Introduction. There was an hour each morning in the dim light of dawn when all the island's animals were safe. You see, long ago, they had agreed that no one would hunt or harm one another during that hour. They called it the Dawn Truce. Most morning, the island residents would gather in the great meadow and spend an hour chatting with friends. Of course, not everyone attended these gatherings. The bears had never made an appearance, and the vultures just circled high above. But on this particular morning, an unusually large group of animals had come out to discuss some important news. "Settle down, everyone. I have something to say." Swooper, the owl, hooted from a crowd of the lowest branch of a dead tree. "Last night, I saw a mysterious creature here in the great meadow. It seemed to be covered in grass, so I couldn't get a good look at it. But I think it may have been a monster. Looks of concern swept over the crowd. "What was the creature doing?" said Dart the weasel. "It was speaking," said Swooper. It kept repeating the same words over and over again, but each time it sounded a little different. At first, it sounded like a cricket. Then it sounded like a raccoon. And then it sounded like an owl. "What was it saying?" said Dig Down the groundhog. "I could be mistaken," said Swooper, "but I think it was saying, 'Hello, my name is Roz.'" The crowd began to chatter. "Just where was this creature?" said Fink the fox. Everyone turned as the owl slowly pointed his wing to a grassy lump in the meadow. It was a rather ordinary-looking grassy lump until it began to move. As you probably guessed, that grassy lump was Roz. She had been there the whole time, camouflaged, watching, listening, and with all the animals looking at her, she decided to introduce herself. The crowd stared in disbelief as the grassy lump started shaking and bulging upward, crumbling apart, and there was the robot. Then, using her body and voice, the robot spoke to the animals in their own language. "Hello, my name is Roz." The crowd gasped. Swooper fluttered from his branch and screeched, "It's a monster!" "I'm not a monster," said Roz. "I'm a robot." A flock of sparrows suddenly took off. "Leave us alone," squeaked Dart from when he was crouched low in the grass. "Return to what a horrible place you came from." "I come from here," said Roz. "I've spent my whole life on this island." "Why haven't you spoken to us sooner?" screeched the owl from high up in the tree. "I did not know the animal language until now," said the robot. Crown Point, the buck, had heard enough. He slipped into the forest with his family. "So what do you want from us?" growled Fink. "I have observed that different animals have different ways of surviving," said the robot, "and I would like each of you to teach me your survival techniques." "I am not going to help you," screeched the owl from atop of the tree. "You seem so unnatural." "The monster is just waiting to gobble us up," shrieked Dig Down. For the groundhog disappeared into the hole. "I will not gobble up anyone," said Roz. "I have no need for food." "You do not need food?" Fink relaxed a bit. "Well, I need food and lots of it. Why don't you make yourself useful and find me some food?" "What would you like me to do?" said Roz. "Can you hunt?" The fox smiled at the hare from a far side of the gathering. "It's almost time for breakfast." "I cannot hunt, but I could gather berries." The fox smile disappeared. "Berries? I'm hungry for meat, not berries." "Good luck to you, Roz. You're gonna need it," and the fox trotted away. Roz looked up at the tree, but the owl had gone. And when the robot looked down again, she realized that everyone else had gone too. Poor Roz, all by herself. Well, you can't blame her for trying. So, Swooper, the owl, called her unnatural. That kind of goes a little bit with our artificial life, artificial intelligence journal, thinking about her being unnatural or artificial. So we're going to stop there, and that was chapter 21. So in my next segment, we'll start on chapter 22. Bye, guys.